Welcome in the latest episode of the Betting Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Aurelian G. Warner. On tonight's episode, we're going through England, Spain, Italy, France, and Germany with best bets nominated from each league, plus an ultimate best bet coming into show. We're 18, 14, and 2, 56% so far year to date, at least for what I've caught up on. I'm just trying so hard to watch all these matches and try to not let recency bias get in the way. So I'm trying to basically watch the whole soap opera of all these seasons, top five leagues. In England this weekend, we do have the FA Cup, so no English Premier League. We did have midweek matches there. In Spain, Italy, France, and Germany, we have the normal league schedules. And we'll get into that, and we'll start where the money is, and that's in the English Premier League, or I guess the FA Cup version for this weekend. So we'll start with Friday. We got two matches, both kicking off the same time, and we do have some smaller clubs, as this is the round of 32, I believe. Hull City 1 3/4 goal underdogs to Chelsea right now with all the juice minus 126, so no 16-cent lines. The Premier League at Bet Online, but say la vie, can't get. I guess beggars can't be choosers or something like that. We've seen a little bit of money coming in on Chelsea since I've been tracking this. But I would expect more money to come in on Chelsea until this game kicks off. Hull City in a lower division, I don't really have a lot of insight into them. I do know that's a former managerial position or spot for Liam Rossignol, the new Chelsea manager. So maybe there will be some. I mean, it's less than 2 goals, so everyone wants a second goal to make sure you win. So I can't imagine there's going to be much letting off the gas by a new manager who needs some wins. So we'll move next to Ipswich Town. They're favorites on the road at Wrexham right now, which kind of flies in the face of any sort of publicity of soccer clubs, especially considering how much has been made of the fame that Wrexham have gotten. Currently totals 2.5, which is very heavily under, so probably 2.25 across other places in the marketplace. Ipswich recently have been in the Premier League. Wrexham have been climbing from lower tiers of, as if anyone's watched the TV show. And this is going to be a big game for them because this is a big step up in class, though Wrexham are trying to find a way to the Premier League. TV shows help, of course, actor money, though rich people exist throughout the world and own a lot of football clubs. I'm not sure how much matters here. But I got to say, Wrexham's home underdog looks a little bit interesting for me on this Friday, I guess, FA Cup action. We'll move to Saturday. We'll start with Burton Albion, 1.5 goal underdogs at home with all the juice or most of the juice to West Ham. Looks like 30-cent lines dealing right now, which is gigantic. Total is 3 in this one, juice a little bit more to over than to under, but still paying a premium minus 111 on under here. West Ham United, they're fighting relegation in the Premier League. You could certainly see them rotating for Burton Albion, though. Road game in the FA Cup. This is where Premier League clubs go to die, basically. So big underdogs are Burton Albion, but I gotta say the price looks pretty right to back a home team that probably has a lot of FA Cup pride. Be very excited. Crowd should be lit for an English Premier League team coming in, and really depends on what West Ham United puts out there and how much they care about this matchup, especially after a grueling match midweek in the English Premier League. Move next to Burnley, 1.25 goal favorites at home to Mansfield. At home, I feel like they're in much better shape, but still not a guaranteed victory by any means, especially because Burnley can't score goals, though that is on the Premier League level, so it's a little bit different. Total this one's 2 3/4, and we'll move to the next. Norwich City, a quarter goal favorite at home to West Bromwich Albion, two teams from lower leagues. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced more to over. Norwich certainly has the more, I think, recent success, if you will, yo-yo club that goes up and down from the Championship to the Premier League all the time. Feels like West Brom maybe have more history, but haven't been as good of a club as of late. Port Vale then hosts Bristol City, another battle of smaller league teams. I'll probably skip that. Plus 1.5 goal are Port Vale at home. Total in this one's 2.5. I don't have much more to say. Manchester City then named their price 3.5 point favorites at home to Salford City. Totals somehow 4.5, gigantic, and it's used very heavily to over, so probably more towards 5. I don't know. Good luck getting involved in that one. Southampton 3/4 goal favorites at home to Leicester. Says something to me considering Leicester had been in the Premier League more recently. More juice on the Leicester side makes some sense. Totals 2 3/4. This one juiced pretty heavily to over. I don't know. It feels like Southampton are pretty heavily priced, but not a league that I follow. Aston Villa then hosts Newcastle in a big matchup of Premier League sides. Currently, Villa a quarter goal favorite at home right now with 2 cents more juice. Totals 2 3/4. This one juiced very heavily to over. Saw a big total this week. Aston Villa hosting Brighton. Newcastle really bad road splits throughout their most recent seasons. And unfortunately, I don't really see them going on the road and winning here. So quarter goal underdog seems very, very generous. And honestly, I want to see what Astonville puts out there in terms of lineups because I'm a believer in them, especially at a short price. If we can get Pick'em, I'll be interested there. To the nightcap on Saturday, Liverpool hosting Brighton. Currently, Liverpool a 1 goal favorite with almost all the juice. Total in this one is 3.25, and she's slightly more to under. Brighton have not been a great goal scoring team despite having a ton of goals in their team so far this season. Don't really know if that's really repeatable, but I do like the full goal of insurance on the road at Liverpool. I don't really believe in Liverpool. Anfield doesn't seem to be as strong as it used to be, and I'm pretty interested in being on the other side. Moving to Sunday, Birmingham hosts Leeds. Currently, Birmingham a quarter goal underdog at home with 2 cents more juice on the road Premier League side. Totals 2.5 juice all the way to over. Um, Not a lot for me to do here unless you really think that Leeds have been overperforming or really take this one less than seriously. Grimsby then hosts Wolves. Grimsby 1.25 goal underdogs with all the juice. Total in this one is 2.75. Juice very heavily to over. I mean, if there's ever a time to fade a Premier League side, it's probably the worst one that we've seen in years. Last one to win across all the England leagues from, I think, pro to semi-pro. Wolves is a big road favorite, is something that I like to be against, but how good is Grimsby? That's a problem. Stoke then hosts Fulham, and what's usually a rough meeting, but Sunday morning, not Tuesday evening, probably helps a lot. And Sunday morning here in the United States is different than overseas, but Stoke 3/4 goal underdogs with all the juice right now, or excuse me, most of the juice. Total in this one is 2.5, juice very heavily to over. Fulham been playing well, had Manchester City midweek. We'll see how much they put in this matchup, but the FA Cup should be important to Fulham because they're pretty safe in the Premier League from what I've seen. Oxford United then hosts Sunderland. Currently, Oxford a 3/4 goal underdog at home with almost all the juice. Total in this one is 2.25, and Sunderland without Granit Xhaka midweek, that's a big loss for them. We'll see how that impacts their road favorite kind of situation on the road. Certainly could see newly promoted side taking this FA Cup match way less than seriously, but they've been off to such a great start. They probably push forward. Next, we'll go, and second to last matchup on this list is Arsenal, 3 goal favorites at home to, to Wigan. With some money coming in actually on Wigan since I've been tracking it, which is a little bit surprising. And apologies, I am sick as a dog because it seems like every week that occurs. Total this was 3.75, and it's used very heavily to over. Arsenal going to dominate this game. Which is how many are they going to score? Wigan's going to go in and we'll see what they do, but I'll wait to see if the number gets to 4 and maybe look towards under, though Arsenal probably could score as many as they want. Last but not least, Macclesfield. They host Brentford. Currently, Macclesfield a 1.75 goal underdog at home with almost all the juice on Brentford away after a big upset of Crystal Palace. Totals 3.25 in this one, just a little bit more to under. I don't know if there's anything for me in that one, I got to say. So for my best bet from the FA Cup portion of the show, I'm going to look toward... I'm going to look toward. Let's go Brighton 1 goal underdog on the road at Liverpool. Put that on the list, and we'll get down to the next league on our card tonight, and that is Spanish La Liga, who have had Copa del Rey midweek, but that was semifinals and only involved 4 teams. So we'll see what this midweek looks like. Start with Elche, currently a pick'em at home to Osasuna, with all the juice on Osasuna right now, which we're back 20-cent lines. So that's really nice. Total in this one's 2.5, juice very heavily to under. And I don't believe in Osasuna. They've been a bad road team for, I don't know, a decade, as long as I've been following soccer across the pond. Elche have played with the ball really well so far this season, have certainly not gotten as much respect from the marketplace lately. You could argue that a promoted side has been running out of gas, but to me, there's a lot of value on the home team, fading the road team that must win away from home, draws a push, and maybe even get Elche as a quarter goal underdog, and that's something I will not be able to resist. Moving to Saturday morning, we have Espanyol hosting Celta de Vigo. Currently, Espanyol a pick'em right now. All the juice is on the home team, as probably expected, and it does seem like some money has been coming in on Espanyol this week. Total this was 2.25, and it's juiced a little bit more to the under. Celta Vigo have been good, but battling in Europa League, which they haven't been used to. Espanyol have been a great home team. The home team at Pick'em looks very interesting to me at the moment, and I'm still interested there. Getafe then hosts Villarreal as I wear a Getafe kit, if I could put that in camera. If you're not a subscriber on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, then you probably aren't watching me on video, but you could be, and I appreciate that. 5-star reviews and comments are huge, especially if you want something referred to by Big East Ben on the College Basketball Podcast. And Need for Seeds coming back to you on Friday, 13th of February for the Saturday card for Valentine's Day. Hopefully, we can find some love struck winners, love drunk winners, maybe. Back to this matchup, though. Getafe quarter goal underdogs at home right now to Villarreal. Villarreal, awesome in La Liga, terrible in every other competition, Copa del Rey, and also in the Champions League. Big steps up in competition, at least in one of those. Getafe haven't been able to score goals. Their manager's been mad at the lack of acquiring a striker. That's a problem, of course. We'll see what ends up this turning into. But for now, for me, home underdogs of interest, and it's rare to see a Tafe total that's hit too. Yes, it's expecting more goals from Villarreal, but low scoring game is what I'm expecting. That's how Getafe play, and I think Villarreal can get sucked into that type of matchup. Moving next to Sevilla, hosting Alaves. Currently, Sevilla a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice right now. A little bit of money coming in, I guess, eating up on the Alaves side, but not too much. Alaves did win this matchup fairly recently in the Copa del Rey, I think heading into the new year. Total in this one is 2.25, up from 2, which tells me that there's going to be some vacillating. I know Joe, longtime Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/real_G Warner, follow my plays across all sports. Longtime Patreon subscriber Joseph Toller, he definitely called me out on oscillating versus vacillating. And now I don't even know what the answer is, and we're live, so I'm just gonna keep going. Lean to the road team and underdog because that's the way Alves plays. To Saturday nightcap, we have Real Madrid hosting Real Sociedad I mean, so much going on at the Real Madrid side of things with new managers and such. Could say the same for Real Sociedad, though. Pellegrino Matarazza, the American, has taken off. And the big question is, how does Real Sociedad react to playing Copa del Rey midweek on the road at Athletic Club Bilbao in a Basque derby? Now they get Real Madrid at home on the road, excuse me, for Real Sociedad, Real Madrid at the Bernabeu at home and their home digs. That's a really tough setup for Real Sociedad. Don't know if there's a lot that I want to get involved there, even though the side is certainly bigger than I made it, and probably for that reason. Moving to Sunday, Real Oviedo, a quarter goal underdog at home to Athletic Club Bilbao. Athletic Club coming off of their home first leg of the Copa del Rey, so that's something that we need to mention. Total's 2.25 in this one, juiced very heavily to under. It should be, even at 2, I think I still like under. Rayo Vallecano, a half a goal underdog at home to Atletico Madrid, coming off of their Barcelona hosting Copa del Rey in the semifinals. They go to Barcelona next time, so the home game was at the Metropolitano in the east side of Madrid. Total in this one is 2.25, juice more to the over. We've seen bad road splits from Atletico Madrid for a long time. I don't see any change to that. Rayo looked very interesting to me as a big home underdog and also to under, and I think they correlate quite well. Levante then hosts Valencia. Currently, Levante, a pick'em right now with a little bit more juice on Valencia. Some money coming in on Levante midweek. Total is 2.5 in this one, juice very heavily to under, and that certainly reflects the way Levante play. And also, really, Valencia is a favorite slight favorite, but I don't think anyone expects Valencia to score when they get out there. 2 more matches to go before we get to an ultimate best bets nominee for Spain. We go Mallorca hosting Real Betis on Sunday nightcap. Currently Mallorca, a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced very heavily to over, which is not the way Mallorca play. Real Betis, I mean, they're a goal scoring team, but Mallorca sucks everyone in their style of play at home on the island. 2.25 is a fairly low total for Real Betis matchups, but for Mallorca, it's a lot on that island, and I don't expect any goals, so I'll play under there. To Monday, we have Girona hosting Barcelona. Currently, Girona, a 1.5 goal underdog. No movement there on the side this week. Total in this one is 3.5, and it's juiced pretty heavily to over after falling from 3.75 at a very juiced to the under type of number. Barcelona coming off a trip to Atletico Madrid in the first leg of the Copa del Rey. That's a big deal. Girona have been playing a lot better coming out of their disastrous type of positioning to start the season. I think we all believe in their manager, and once they stabilize their attack or just their team in general, I think they found a way to play. And they're big underdogs, especially with Barcelona playing midweek. Yeah, that shouldn't matter too much for Barca because they're used to it, but Girona have been good at home. This is a big Catalonian matchup of 2 teams. I don't know if you call it derby. Girona certainly cares more than Barca do, but at this point for me, Girona, big underdog, look very interesting at home. Totals probably bigger than I want. Probably, but I do like unders, as longtime Patreon subscriber Joe Dollar knows. Big total, bigger than I made it, but I don't know if I can play unders with Barcelona at this point in this world. For my best bet from Spain's La Liga on this weekend's podcast. Let's go with the Real Oviedo Athletic Club Bilbao under 2.25, and that's Sunday morning in that matchup. We'll now move to the Italian Serie A, which I'll click to as I am dying of heat because unfortunately I think the fever's hitting. So I'm gonna switch to the Italian Serie A, get some lines in front of me, and open my. Hopefully, it won't distract everyone. But the balcony door. 1 second, and there we are. Now I can breathe. Well, relatively, with a nose that doesn't work. Pisa. We'll start with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They are at home for Milan on Friday in the Italian Serie A. They are 3/4 goal underdogs right now with all the juice on Milan. Probably a one is available out there in the marketplace. Totals 2.5. Juice pretty heavily to under right now, as it should be. Pisa have not shown the ability to score goals this year. Milan have been great defensively, and that's what we expected from Massimiliano Allegri. The big question is how many goals can Milan score, and that probably dictates this total. I lean under in this matchup, and we'll see where it closes. We'll move to Saturday. Como hosting Fiorentina, coming off their Coppa Italia midweek, close favorite at Napoli. Wild, never thought I'd see that, but Cole's been getting a lot of respect from the marketplace, and they're getting it again here. Quarter goal favorites at home to Fiorentina, who've been playing in Europe, but ultimately have been one of the worst seasons Fiorentina have had. Totals 2.5 in this one, just very heavily to over. And I'm tempted by La Viola, the purple, on the road, but Como have been in control of games and they protect their net that way. Maybe under looks interesting. I just don't think they're really in a position to win by multiple goals against anybody, especially bigger budgets, even if Fiorentina have had the worst season in their campaign or history or whatever. Lazio then hosts Atalanta still on Saturday. We have Lazio a quarter goal underdog at home with almost all the juice on Atalanta away. Total in this one is 2.25, and she's pretty heavily to over as well. Lazio have just not got any respect for the marketplace this season because they had a transfer ban, didn't acquire anyone this summer, but they were able to fix that in January, brought in some talent. And Atalanta's been getting a lot of respect since changing managers. I like Palladino. I just don't know that they're this much better than Lazio to be favored away. So give me the home team underdog and a little bit interested in under, though. Totals lower than I made it. To the nightcap on Saturday, we have the Derby d'Italiana, something like that. Big one of Inter and Juventus. Currently, Inter a half a goal favorite at home with more juice on Juve away. Total in this one's lower than expected, 2.5, and it's juice more to under. I think that's because this matchup is usually totaled that way as a low scoring matchup where the first goal seems to win. I'm not fading Inter at that type of price on the road to Juventus. They're basically rated higher than when Napoli went to Inter, though Napoli have been struggling a little bit lately comparatively. Juve has been getting a lot of respect, and I don't know if they deserve it. I feel like they get a lot of good fortune, which they make some of that, but Inter is the biggest test for them in Italy, and this is a big deal for Inter and trying to win the Scudetto. If they can win this matchup with Juventus, they're in great position. I think they are anyway so far this season. Moving to Sunday, Udinese hosting Sassuolo. Udinese, a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice, and Sassuolo away. Total in this one is 2.25, juice very heavily to under. Sassuolo have been impressive to me ever since kind of looking like they were not even close to the Serie A level after coming up for Serie B. Udinese as a favorite are always something I like to look against. Under looks somewhat interesting, but Udinese find goals in matches and they don't really seem like they deserve. Cremonese then hosts Genoa. Currently, Cremonese a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total in this one is 2, and it's used more to the over. So Genoa brought a new manager, found some ability to score goals, though they really haven't done much of that in years. But better than Patrick Vieira, who's been struggling with that his whole managerial career. Cremonese have been competitive. Started the year off with a win at Milan, which is the best thing you could ever have, but have certainly not found many goals despite starting Jamie Vardy up top. I think the home underdogs of interest to me because Genoa just doesn't score a ton of goals and it correlates to under 2. So I like that as well. Parma then hosts Verona. Currently, Parma a quarter goal favorite at home with almost all the juice, actually all of it on Verona right now, 18 to the 20 cents. Total is 2 in this one. Juice more to the over, almost all the way, 19 to the 20 cents here. So not a lot of goals expected. I think that's why Verona look interesting to me, and they're always hanging around. They've been in this league for a long time, and I trust them late in the year to get results. So lean to Verona getting a quarter of goal and under, and it correlates. To 11 a.m. on Sunday, Central Time, noon Eastern, Torino hosts Bologna. Currently, Torino quarter goal underdogs at home with all the juice. Total in this one is 2.25, and it's just heavily to over, probably climbing to 2.5, which doesn't really reflect Torino's offense. But Bologna playing midweek certainly could question how their defense will show after Bologna played in the Coppa Italia against Lazio. I still don't really trust Torino to score goals, though. To Sunday, we have Napoli hosting Roma in a battle of two teams that really haven't been able to score many goals lately. A lot more juice on the Roma side, 16 to the 20 cents. Total in this one is two, juice 16 to 20 cents to over. I'm waiting to see this total climb. Roma have added an incredibly attacking manager who then has not really attacked much or had much success attacking the season. Under two looks very interesting, though it's tiny, but for good reason. Probably some risk that you're pushing rather than winning if unless we get to two and a quarter and then you win half a bet if it lands two. But I think we see a low scoring game as both these teams have played that way. Managers seem to want to do that. And Roma, even with an offensive manager, have maintained their defensive strategy or qualities or at least results. To Monday, Cagliari hosting Lecce. Currently, Cagliari a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice. Total in this one is two, and it's used slightly more to under. Two teams that haven't scored many goals this year. Cagliari defend really well at home. They're going to try to win this game because they need 3 points against a weak scoring team that Lecce, I don't even know if they can score here. They don't seem to be able to score many times. Under two looks probably most interesting to me, more so than the side. And then a 1-0 Cagliari win will win you the total and lose you the side. So that's probably where I'd lean. And we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition on Monday. For my best bet from nominee from the Italian portion of this show, I mean, Napoli and Roma look very interesting, but the total is so small. I think I will go to the Parma Verona under two. Very important push offered there if it does land on two. Move now to Ligue 1 in France, and we'll start on Friday with two matches. We have Rennes and PSG. Currently, Rennes a 1.5 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total in this one is 3.5, and it's just very heavily to under. The Rennes schedule has been amazingly difficult lately with the biggest clubs in France in the Coupe de France. I think they had Marseille in Liga and then Monaco in the Coupe de France. And now they have PSG. I mean, ridiculous. But to me, they're also really strong. We've seen some football clubs across other nations, specifically Atletico Madrid last season when they had a lot of important games all at the same time that really took a lot out of them. I worry for that, fear for that for Rennes. They're really like their manager, and I feel like they've defended so well under Habib Bey for a long time, though there's been a lot of questions about him maintaining his job. PSG have not been as dominant this season, probably off after giving a lot to the Champions League and then the Club World Cup and then all that stuff that's been going on, of course. And they won the treble last season, won everything you could. So it's hard to follow up on that. But PSG clearly more talented, but big number for them to cover. Have to win by multiple goals on the road against a Rennes team. So I like that Rennes side at noon Eastern or noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. To the nightcap on Friday, Monaco hosts Nantes. Currently, Monaco a 1.25 goal favorite at home with all the juice on Nantes. Surprisingly, totals three in this one, juice more to the over. Nantes have been one of the teams that have kept me afloat for a long time in soccer betting. They're never great, never beautiful, but they fight like hell, and I love that about them. Lean to under, but I think I like 1.25 goal underdogs, not a little bit more, though I think they try to get this game in the gutter. Monaco's home crowd is not great, so I lean to underdog and under. Moving to Saturday, Marseille hosts Strasbourg, calling Marseille a 3/4 goal favorite, a little bit more juice. Total in this one is 3, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under right now. We've seen a little bit of movement actually overnight in the to the Marseille direction. Strasbourg brought in Gary O'Neill, who I thought was a great manager, made me a ton of money at Bournemouth and at Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. He's a defensive guy, so total feels pretty high at 3, but that's what I made it. Spread is 3/4, which is just what I made it. So I feel like we're on kind of par where we're at. And I'm curious to see what he can do with a really young, talented team like Strasbourg that wants to score goals because he's a defensive guy. So we'll see if a Leopard changes his stripes. Moving next to Lille, hosting Brest. Currently, Lille, a 3/4 goal favorite with almost all the juice on Brest away. Told this one is 2.5, and it's juice slightly more to over. Brest have been competitive, but Lille is a really tough place to play. They score a ton of goals. I hate when they shoot off fire when they score a goal. If I'm playing on the other side, I don't know. There's a lot that I want to do because I think Lille are special. To the Saturday night cap, Paris of a different version, FC Paris. They're half a goal underdogs at home to Lens, who have had one of the most incredible seasons in French League 1, but of course that's what they do. Total this one's 2.5, and it's just pretty heavily to over. And I don't think I want much to do, though. I'm surprised, or I do expect FC Paris to get bet because they do every week, it seems, by a newly promoted, despite being newly promoted, but spend a lot of money on adding some Ligue 1 talent that have kind of been sporadically used throughout a bunch of names, like big names that you know. And I feel like that's the market's fallen in love with them. I don't think FC Paris has deserved it. Kind of feels like Como in Italy as well, we just covered. Um, but this is a big test for Lens to go on the road without their big crowd behind them to win and win by a full goal away from home. To Sunday, we have Le Havre hosting Toulouse. Currently, Le Havre a excuse me, a single quarter, so 0.25 underdog at home with all the juice. Toulouse are really, really talented, but go on the road as a favorite is a big thing to do in any sport. Total in this one's 2.25, and it's juice more to under. I lean to Le Havre. They don't really score many goals, though, so that's a concern. Probably want to tie that with under on the home underdog. Lorient then hosts Angers. Speaking of teams that don't score a lot of goals, Lorient newly promoted, but they're half a goal favorite at home to Angers, who just never get any respect from any marketplace. Totals in this one's 2.25, juice pretty heavily to under. And I believe in Angers. I believe in unders. So I think they go on the road and make this really tough on Lorient. Goalless draw, win both side and total. Sign me up for that. Metz then hosts Angers, another battle at the bottom. Metz a pick'em at home. All the juice is on Angers away though. Totals 2.25 in this one. Juice more to the under. Um, I would love to see Mets move to a home underdog because I think they a quarter goal on home underdog because I think they can score goals in Alger. They're really talented. I like them, but it feels a little weird to see them favored on the road in Ligue 1, even against a newly promoted. Total probably lean under. The Mets have goals in them. Alger, I probably don't want to play that type of game, which I think also points to the home underdog. Last but not least, Lyon hosts Nice. Currently, Lyon 1 goal favorites. All the juice on Nice away. Total in this one is 2.75, and juice is split. So no real tell on which way the total will go. But Nice have had a disastrous season, and I'm not sure I believe in much of them at this point. For my best bet in France, as I open up other windows that I don't mean to, let's go with Angers Lorient, and we're going to take that under 2.25 goals because I don't really see much happening in that matchup. Last but not least, we get the German Bundesliga, get an ultimate best bet, and get us out of here. Try to recover for the weekend, at least for my sake, and probably for all you listening. We'll start with Mainz, a 1 goal underdog on the road at Borussia Dortmund. Total in this one is 3, and it's just more to the over. Dortmund are awesome. They're really good at home. Spread's much smaller than I made it. Total is a little bit smaller than I made it. So it feels like there's some belief in Mainz and Flump coming out of a really poor start to the season under a great manager who I've loved for a long time. I don't know that Urs Fischer had really had much success at Union Berlin on his road trips to Borussia Dortmund, but I think under 3 is my biggest interest there. Moving to the big slate of 3:30 local time, 8:30 Central here, 9:30 Eastern time, United States. Eintracht Frankfurt, a half a goal underdog. Eintracht Frankfurt, a half a goal favorite, let me say, with more juice on the Borussia Mönchengladbach underdog there. Total in this one is 2.75, and it's juiced minus 110 both ways, so no real indicator on which way it'll go. That's a low total for Frankfurt. I think Borussia Mönchengladbach are very interesting because Frankfurt have not defended all season. And Joe Dollar, here's one for you. Over 2.75 looks a little bit interesting to me. Hoffenheim then hosts Sport Club Freiburg. Currently, Hoffenheim a 3/4 goal favorite. Almost all the juice on Freiburg away. Total in this one is 2.75, juice very heavily to over. And there's a lot of respect in this number for Hoffenheim. Freiburg are not great against the best clubs in Germany away from home, but I don't know that Hoffenheim are technically that. We know that there's not a good home field advantage for Hoffenheim as well. So Freiburg, 3/4 goal underdogs, look very interesting to me and much bigger than I made it. Hamburg then hosts Union Berlin. Currently, Hamburg at Pick'em, a newly promoted side, with all the juice right now at home. Total this one's 2.25. Juice very heavily to over, and we'll see if that climbs to 2.5. I want to see it keep climbing, but Union and clearly the market believes that this is going to be a tight matchup with low scoring, and I think I completely agree with that. Werder Bremen, 1.75 goal underdog at home to Bayern Munchen. Almost all the juice on Werder Bremen, surprisingly. Totals 3.5 in this one, just almost all the way to over. That does not surprise. Bayern Munchen coming off RB Leipzig and the DFB Pokal Cup midweek on Wednesday. So some rest advantage for Werder Bremen, but Bayern Munchen are so deep. I mean, numbers does seem interesting that there's a lot of respect for Werder Bremen at this point. I'm not going to step in the way in the Bayern train. Move next to Bayer Leverkusen, hosting St. Pauli. Currently, Leverkusen a 1 goal favorite with all the juice. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's just very heavily to over. St. Pauli can't score. It seems like if their overs hit, it's from a penalty or a deflection or some sort of lucky thing. Maybe it's both of them. Leverkusen certainly are a goal scoring team, but St. Pauli are going to go and try to fight like hell to get out of there with a 0-0 victory, basically. To the Topspiel Saturday evening, 11:30 local time here in Dallas, 12:30 Eastern time. VfB Stuttgart, 1.25 goal favorites at home to Cologne. Juice is split both ways in that one. Total is 3.25, and juice more to the over. I'm not really a believer in Cologne. I feel like they've kind of been running out of gas and going on a really tough place to play at Stuttgart, especially playing in attacking brand of football. I don't know you want to do that against Stuttgart, so I think that's a really tough setup. To Sunday, last two matchups of this episode, we go to Augsburg, half a goal favorites at home to FC Heidenheim. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it's just slightly more to over. Heidenheim are, I mean, barely stayed up last season, have not gotten any respect from the marketplace, but seeing Augsburg as half a goal favorite to anybody with a pulse seems crazy. Leipzig then hosts Wolfsburg in the last matchup of the weekend. RB Leipzig, a 1 1/4 goal favorite with slightly more juice on Wolfsburg, totals 3.5 juice all the way to under. Leipzig have been really good at home for years. They've got a new look team. They've rebuilt, but have a lot of talent as always. VfL Wolfsburg on the road. I mean, they're going to try their best to hang in this one. 1 1/4 is gigantic as a price. So I probably lean that way, especially crossing one when I made it below. But total at 3.5 suggests we're going to see some goals in this matchup, and that's really not how Wolfsburg wants to play. For my best bet from the German Bundesliga, let's do lost my spot. Let's go Heidenheim, half a goal underdog on the road. Augsburg, just not a believer that Augsburg deserve to lay that price to really anybody at this point. And now let's move to the ultimate best bet portion of the show. Before I get there, thanks for all the subscribers. Patreon.com/real_G You've been keeping me afloat, and I really appreciate that. Just give me another reason to make sure I post every night, get the podcast out there, all that sort of stuff. I really appreciate that more than any of y'all know. Longtime subscribers, of course. I mentioned Joe a lot because he gets in on me about not betting favorites ever. But I really appreciate that. And thanks for all your support, Joe. And of course, everyone else as well. I want to shout out some new YouTube subscribers, Ricardo and Sam Opoku. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate that. Others, Christopher Douglas, Allison McIntyre, Young Realist, Paul Mallon, Fallet Mac, and others. I really appreciate you coming in. Dirty Sheets, can't forget you either. For those of you on Spotify, 5-star reviews are huge. Comments are big. And I know I've got way more listeners, or at least listens to episodes versus subscribers. So hit the subscribe button. It's huge for building the podcast and hopefully growing and maybe getting some more guests or something like that, or just a single soccer guest. We should have the Need for Speed College Basketball podcast with Big East Ben recorded on this weekend, Friday for Saturday, covering that big Saturday card. All you lovebirds out there not going on Valentine's dates or whatever, maybe you did it on Friday, but we'll get in there and looking forward to that. Check out some reels at the real_G Warner. Of course, that fits pretty well on Instagram, but also YouTube at the real_G Warner. Same subscription on YouTube. Get your subscription to the reels as well. Plus, see some house music content from time to time. If I randomly go to a concert like I did this weekend, caught a pretty good remix and really good show from Leighton Jordani. If you're into that, go check that out as well. So now it's time for the ultimate best bet. We are 18, 14, and 2 so far year to date. And we're going to try to keep that 56% number going the rest of the year, really improve it because we had a great year with best bets last season. From the English Premier League's FA Cup version this weekend, cup competition, not the Premier League. I like Brighton, a 1-goal underdog on the road at Liverpool. In La Liga in Spain, like Real Oviedo, 2 1/4 goal under at home to Athletic Club Bilbao. In Serie A in Italy, like Verona, under 2 goals. In Liga in France, I like Angers, under 2 1/4 goals. And the Bundesliga, I like Heidenheim, a half of a goal underdog. But I think to me, the best bet to put out there on this weekend's episode is betting against Athletic Club coming off of Copa del Rey midweek and against their biggest rival in a Basque derby. So let's go under 2 1/4 goals, Real Oviedo, hosting Athletic Club Bilbao. And we'll see you in the next episode. The Need for Speed College Basketball podcast coming out next time on this channel. And we'll see you next week with more content.